The world of business coaching and coaching in general is a wild and crazy, unregulated space that has a lot of brilliant people offering fantastic solutions, as well as people that may not actually have the experience that they say they do, that could not only give you advice that may not do one thing or the other, but could actually be detrimental to your future. And unfortunately, I encountered a business coach that was less than expected. And I thought that it might be worthwhile to tell you my story, to share some of the red flags that I ignored early on, the lessons I learned, as well as some of the key criteria that I would use if I were to be thinking about hiring a business coach today. And lastly, some other types of solutions that would give you something similar to what a coach could do. So if that sounds interesting to you, then let's dive into things. Hello, my name is Emma Shermer-Tamir. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Marketing by Emma. And since 2016, we've been working with businesses from all over the world, helping them create sensational brands in the e-commerce space. And prior to starting this business, I had zero business experience and knowledge at all. I had done a little bit of freelance writing here and there over the years, and I had worked closely with CEOs and owners of businesses, but I did not have any direct experience myself. And I had very little experience also with things like management. And so while this whole experience has been an incredible learning opportunity, there are also plenty of times when I feel like I am in totally over my head and I don't know what to do. And I was in this very position in the winter of 2022. So just about 2 years ago. I knew that we were considering a cross-country move. At the time, we were living in Columbia, Missouri, and we had our eyes set on a potential relocation to Las Vegas, Nevada. So already there's a lot that's kind of going on, a lot of potential change on the forefront, and that is the dynamic in which I began to contemplate why not hire a coach? Now, that was not the only thing. And before I get into this any further, I want to make it clear that this is not meant to be bashing coaches. I do think there are a lot of fantastic coaches out there. However, this is a situation where I did not do as much research as I should have. And I feel like I made some key mistakes that not only cost me a lot of money, but cost me time, really let down my hopes, made me upset on numerous occasions, and definitely did not deliver the ROI that I was expecting. So first and foremost, I was in a state of flux, and I don't know if you're like this, but at least for me, when I'm dealing with a lot of change, it can be overwhelming. I love change. I seek it out in all areas of my life. It's not something that I shy away from. And yet it can still very easily become overwhelming, especially when every single part of your life feels like it's in a state of chaos. So moving not only meant change in my personal life, but also change for my business, since we would be moving our business to a different state as well, which if you haven't done that, it's a little more complicated than what I definitely was anticipating. And on top of that, I was feeling a little bit dissatisfied. I felt as though I had a pretty good handle on the day-to-day of our business, but I wasn't being challenged in the way that I wanted to be. I had big ambitions, and I felt like maybe the missing piece was somebody that had more experience and a different perspective who would be able to help me identify some key growth opportunities, or maybe just some new opportunities outside of our business as well that I could pursue. So I was feeling simultaneously chaotic and lost. And that is unfortunately a perfect recipe for somebody to come in and to take advantage of that. Oh, I should also mention, so I have notes here because I have a lot of points that I want to make and I don't want to forget them. So I don't always have things as thoroughly noted out with these videos, but I feel like it's important because there is so much that goes into this whole story, and then hopefully some takeaways that you can take with you when you are contemplating hiring a coach either for your business or in your personal life. So another key element, just building on this period of change, is this was also in that kind of post-pandemic transition time. So it's not just that we're making active changes, but the world is kind of coming back to life. People are beginning to be more out of their house, going to events again. There's just a lot going on. And so it was just every single direction that I looked was new and different and happening at lightning speed. And I was overwhelmed. So right at the beginning, I should have been wary of this person. I got a recommendation, actually a few recommendations from a group that I was a part of. And all of these people were saying fantastic things about him. And so rather than casting a wide net, doing my own research, interviewing a few people, which is really my process that I do for almost anything that I'm hiring for, whether it's a contractor, an employee, a coach, an accountant, and that's just basic practices that I follow. For some reason, I decided that because some business people that I respected were saying such positive things about this person, that they must be great. And so rather than, taking a lot of extra time to do a bunch of research and talk to other people, I set my sights on him. And I filled out this really lengthy questionnaire. And then I needed to reschedule the call with him first because we were moving. And then again, because we were moving. As I mentioned, my life was very chaotic. It was in flux. And so as a result of this, I rescheduled a few times because my calendar was only partially under my control. I didn't know when we would be moving. I didn't know where we would be moving to. And once we moved, I didn't always have the space to be able to have those kinds of calls. So there was a lot going on, and I did reschedule the call a few times. And the last time that I rescheduled it, I got a pretty aggressive email telling me that it seems like I'm not serious and that if I really want to actually follow through on this, he's happy to reschedule the call with me. But if I don't make that call, then we can't work together. So on the one hand, I have to respect that as a business move. It's pretty clever. However, that's pretty high pressure sales. And it only continued when I actually got on the call with him because, now he's triggered these psychological things in my mind of, oh, I don't want to miss out on the opportunity to be able to work with this person. If he's able to say no to clients, then he knows what he's doing. He's in demand. He must have some amazing insights to impart on me. So rather than having this be something that made me think twice, even though it made me feel uncomfortable, all of that was overridden by not wanting to miss out on a chance to work with him. So I get on the call. We have a conversation. Of course, he starts to get into some more sensitive things. So I'm feeling more vulnerable. And then he makes a hard sell and he pushes to get the money while we're on the phone. And this was a sum of money that was enough that I wanted to also check with my business partner / husband to make sure that this was something that he was going to be comfortable with as well. So I told this coach that I needed a little bit of time to talk with my partner and to think about it. And also, I just don't like to make trigger decisions like that for big sums of money on the spot. He continued to be persistent in pushing for it and then opted to instead book a call for a few days later so that we could complete the purchase. So really treating it as if this is something that is already happening. I'm already going to be working with him, setting that ball in motion. So anybody that has experience with sales understands exactly all of the different tactics that this person was using. And even though I am someone that gets the ick from this kind of sales, I think because of everything going on in my life and because I felt like maybe this person could fix all my problems, I disregarded all of those gut feelings telling me this is not a good option for you. I just ignored them. I shut them off and unfortunately decided to work with this person, just signed on for a 6-month contract. So what I learned very quickly was this person presented as a business coach. They marketed themselves as a business coach. They spoke like they were a business coach until we started coaching. And once we started coaching, it became crystal clear that this person was really more of a life coach. They were always bringing things back to more of the woo-woo. I feel like I need to give lots of caveats in this video, but this is a very important distinction because I understand how important it is to work on ourselves if we are deciding to pursue business and entrepreneurship. So much of our success is dictated by how we show up as leaders, and some of the things that are most likely to hold us back are the things that we struggle with individually. So I understand all of that. However, one of the key differences between a life coach and a business coach, in theory, is that a business coach ideally has had the experience and has already achieved what you're hoping to achieve. And so they not only have the life coach aspects and holding you accountable and all of that stuff, but they have the very practical knowledge and know-how to help you get to where you want to go. And so whenever I was asking for concrete advice or specific things to do or like actual business tactics, we always took a turn and turned it back to me. And that very quickly made me start to feel like this wasn't a good fit. However, I had wanted to take advantage of the better pricing to pay for the full 6 months in advance. And so I felt like I'd already invested, I was already in, so I might as well try to make the most of it. And I was preparing in advance. I was trying to create good questions, but then there was this other issue that came about, which is this person, yes, they were a business coach. Yes, they were a successful business person, but they were also an aspiring actor. Woo! Another big red flag. Why did I not, pay closer attention to this? And on the occasions truthfully, almost every meeting, we ended up discussing at least a little bit of his acting. And not only that, but maybe because I'm a Midwesterner, maybe because I'm a woman, maybe it's just because who I am, when I engage in conversation with somebody, I'm always going to ask them how they are and check in with them because I think that's really important for establishing rapport and just meeting that person where they are now. And the strange thing is that every time I asked him this, the conversation would shift to be about him and beyond what would be appropriate. So similarly, I've worked with therapists in the past, and when I ask a therapist how they are, they might give me a very short answer, but then immediately dive into the task at hand, which is helping me work through the things that I want to work through. And in this case, he seemed so eager to be talking about himself that he would take up a significant amount of our time that I had paid for in order to answer that question and to talk about his aspirations as an actor. I feel pretty ridiculous kind of going along with all of this, if I'm being honest. But I'm wanting to share this both if you are considering hiring somebody and how to be a better customer, to be more discerning, but also if you do find yourself in a situation where you're working with somebody and you're feeling these red flags, to recognize that you do not have to follow through and that you can ask for a refund or you can ask to stop the engagement, and you should not be working with somebody, especially trusting them with very important information and helping with the success and future of your business if you don't have full trust and if you don't feel totally confident in their abilities. Never really gave true business advice or coaching ever. In fact, there were a few times that he would reference something and then say, oh, I'll need to find that and get it to you. And then he never got it to me. And then I would email and I would ask for it and he would tell me that he was having trouble finding it. well, what was I thinking? I honestly don't really even know what his business experience was because I foolishly did not ask those questions. And he would also randomly change the schedule all the time or tell me that he wasn't able to be on video that day. This was all done virtually. And so there were just, he wasn't reliable, he wasn't organized, and he was avoiding giving me the guidance that I had hired him to give me. So let's just kind of recap what some of the red flags were. High pressure sales, evasive answers, questionable circumstances. The setting that he was often in was pretty sparse and did not look overly professional. He was incredibly disorganized. And my business partner / husband was supportive of me hiring this person, but pretty quickly started to feel like maybe he wasn't going to be a good fit. And this created a very complicated internal conflict where I felt like because I had already committed, and I think because I'm stubborn, I had wanted to show him that that wasn't going to be the case and that this person knew what they were doing and that they were going to be a great asset to helping push our goals and objectives forward. So, what were my mistakes? I didn't listen to my gut. Over and over and over again, I should have listened to my gut. I didn't ask for referrals. So if I was ever going to hire a coach again, I would ask for some names of people that had worked with them in the past so that I could have those conversations. Instead, I just took some recommendations in a group that I was in. I didn't pursue even engaging with those people to ask for more insights into what specifically they got out of working with this person. And that was fully my mistake. I didn't look for other alternatives, so I didn't engage with other business coaches. I didn't really actively look for people that had achieved specifically what I was looking to achieve. I didn't inventory myself mentally and emotionally. So I don't think that I was super aware of how much in a state of chaos I was in, how much I was sort of yearning for somebody to be able to help give me some guidance, answer those questions, and maybe even take a little bit of the pressure off of me. And I think that if I would have acknowledged that within myself, then I would have been a lot more careful and deliberate with my decision making to balance out this desire to just quickly find a solution to fix all of my problems. And as I mentioned already, I didn't specifically look to make sure that he had the experience doing what it was that I was hoping to do. So am I against business coaches? Absolutely not. But there are also some other types of places that you may be able to get similar types of things. So mastermind groups in particular are fantastic because you are not just interfacing with one person, you're able to engage with a variety of other business people who have a lot of different experiences, and you're able to talk through and problem solve whatever it is that you are looking to figure out. So I find mastermind groups can be really worthwhile joining. You just want to make sure that you're finding groups with people that are well matched to the type of business you're in and have some experience doing what it is that you are trying to do, just like you would want to with a coach. Mentors can also be fantastic. So they don't necessarily have a transactional component to them, which can really shift the dynamic for better or for worse. But mentors can be great short-term or long-term sources of knowledge and support and guidance, and have been very integral to my journey, both in education and then as I moved on into my professional career. There are also a lot of great free business resources if you live in the United States. There's the SBA, there is the SBDC, and there are most places that I've lived or been in also have different entrepreneurial meetups. So if you look on places like Meetup or look into your local entrepreneur community resources, you may well find different groups and organizations that have been created to help support entrepreneurs like you. And then professional associations and organizations can also be a great way, particularly of connecting in with people that are are specifically in your industry or in an industry that is related to something that you are trying to do. All of these lessons, by the way, don't just apply to business coaches and life coaches. You should be considering all of these things whenever you are going to be paying someone a significant amount of money to do something substantial in your business. So if you're hiring people, if you're bringing on partners, these are all considerations that you would also want to have as you are going through the process of determining if it's a good fit or not. So the things that I would do if I were to hire a business coach today, I would read reviews. I would do research. I would interview at least 3 people. I would ask for referrals. I would pay very close attention to my gut feeling. And I would also ask for some sort of clause that would allow me to either have a trial period or a way that I could get out of the contract so that I am not obligated to fulfill a full 6 or 12 month commitment if it is not, in fact, a good fit. And then last but not least, make sure that they have proven experience. It is so vital because none of the rest of this matters. They can be charismatic, they can be compelling, they can make you feel great, but if they don't actually have the knowledge that you need, then you are going to be wasting your money. So I realize that this is a little bit of a departure from the types of content that I'm typically creating, but I just think it's so important to be sharing about not only our successes and the things that we do that help our businesses grow, but also the challenges that we have along the way, because so much of entrepreneurship is making mistakes and failing. And then it's really a matter of how you respond to those mistakes and failures that shape what happens in the future and how you're able to grow. So if you found this video helpful or interesting, let me know. I'm happy to create more videos about other types of mistakes and failures and lessons that I've learned in the last 7+ years of owning my own agency and running a business. And thank you so much for watching. Oh, by the way, if you like this, please leave a comment what you'd like to see next. Subscribe, join me on this journey. You might be able to hear my dog barking right now. He says subscribe as well. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.